Hello, entrepreneurs. We are entering Module B, which is basically the next step after all the various activities that you were doing in Module A. For instance, you were introduced to who is an entrepreneur, the history of entrepreneurship, how can you come up with ideas on how to start a business, and how do you construct your business plan, the networking that you have to do in order for you to understand how the business world operates. So in this semester, we are introducing you to many other forms of conducting business. And this chapter deals with how you can enter a business as an entrepreneur who is using a family business as a vehicle to enter the business world. Hello, entrepreneurs. This is your summary for chapter 11, entering a family business. I just want to highlight the key factor that when you enter into a business, you can actually opt for a family business. A lot of people ignore this kind of business because they are either not really taking it seriously because it's something that they grew up around and they didn't like what their parents or maybe even your grandmothers liked. But in this type of business, you can actually learn a lot. You can acquire a lot of skills that you can use in your own business when you are grown up. And the practicality of the business is even more important. So in this chapter, we go through defining what is a family business and the systems that needs to be in place to run a family business successfully, and also the problems and challenges that people usually experience when they are conducting a family business. I think from my side, succession is the most important part, because if a business is not well planned on how it's going to be handed over to the generations to come, that's when the particular business actually stagnates and not actually become sustainable. So I usually focus even some of the assessments on succession planning, because it's very important to keep the legacy of the family by making sure that there are people who are going to take it forward. So I touch on advisory boards. What are these? Family councils, and how you actually manage the talent within the family. So as you can see the learning outcomes on your screen, you can just read through them, but I just want to explain the importance of what constitutes a family business. It's when family members are actively involved. They start the business with the sole reason for making some kind of an inheritance for generations to come. And in this family, it would be identified by the values that they carry within this particular family. I cannot emphasize enough, it's very important to not to look down on any kind of family business, because everything in this world starts small. So a family business is not immune from starting small and even getting big. The businesses that you see today, which are quite large, are businesses that started out very small. I worked at Liberty Properties, and the founder of Liberty, Mr. Gordon, told a story on how his father retired after working for more than 20 or so years with absolutely nothing. So that's why he started Liberty Insurance. I won't tell the whole story, but I'll just give you an idea on how it was started. It was actually inspired by someone who felt that working for somebody else is not as rewarding as having your own businesses. So there are so many things that influence how a family business works, and you want to make sure that if you claim that this is a family business, the members of the family should own the majority of the shares, and the family usually hold a significant number of family members in the top positions. And even if the shares may be less than 50%, but they still continue to be the majority shareholders if it's a family business. Now, the two systems, it's the family system and the business system. The family system really, it focuses on caring for the members, the protection of the members, and entrepreneurship is actually part of making sure that the children grow up and understand that the business is there for their benefit. And then the business side, well, it's not different from any business. It's the task and the studying of the changing environment that the business would be exposed to, how you want to change a way of living, relations between the employer and employee. In most businesses, even if it's a family business, you still have outsiders, so you have to keep to the correct rules and regulations stipulated for managing the employer-employee relationship. So again, the family business can have various people in it, like your family members, non-family members, even employees as part of the family business, and employees, non-family members as part of the business. And you can even have some of the investors who are not necessarily part of the family. Now, the success of the family business rests upon how the business is directed and how it's actually conducted in terms of both the business system and the family system as well. These two aspects should work together to ensure that the family is actually successful in this particular business. So the one thing that I want to highlight is the problems that a family business usually experiences, and it's usually the sole reason why it doesn't go to the even third, fourth, and fifth generation. Conflict being one of the main things. And as we see nowadays, a lot of people get married in community of property, and when the parents divorce, the business is survival is at stake. You find that if someone dies as well, there are just so many conflicts that arises, people starting fighting over things. So the survival of the business now is at stake. If you don't have a clear succession plan, again, this can cause a lot of conflict. Sometimes the firstborn is not interested, because in some cultures they consider the firstborn to be the one who is supposed to take over, only to find that a particular firstborn is not even interested in the business. Now, when you look at the problems as well, the problems that are highlighted in a family business are the ones that really find that children are not interested in the business because the talent is not properly managed, especially for the people who are supposed to take over the business when they grow up. You find that they are not orientated to the business. They don't know how the business runs, and they solely depend on people who are even sometimes outsiders, and they are planning to sabotage those young people who are supposed to take over the business. So it becomes really a big issue. So there are so many countless problems that we can highlight in making sure that the business is successful. But there are also things that we can highlight which are positives in a family business. For instance, the family culture is upheld through family business, and you have a better sense of community among the various members within the business, and you can create jobs and job security for family members, and you gain specialized knowledge because you've been running the business. You have got the in-depth understanding of the business right from early ages of your life, and you will be allowed to develop your creativity by making sure that you give advice. For instance, some of you are doing this course specifically to later on in life be the advisor of your family business. So like I said, the succession now becomes more important, because the succession is the process through which the leadership or the ownership of the family business is transferred from the existing leader to a subsequent family or non-family member. Now, how you do this is very important, and there are things that we can actually look at to make sure that this business is transferred successfully. So the founder, who is autocratic, does not want to transfer leadership, unfortunately, because they want to conduct this business their way or the highway. Now, the existing leader acts through, though he or she will not die. It's a problem again, because that will stop succession from happening correctly. And in some cases, as parents, sometimes a child stay a child like forever. A child would not be considered as an adult or as an equal at later on in life. So that is a problem. It's an obstacle to a succession plan. So how can we make sure that we actually do away with this problem? The owners or the founders of the family business should answer critical questions like, why do I want to create and maintain the family business? Once you understand that you are not going to live there forever, so you have to make sure that you ask the right questions. What is the dream that I have about the business for in the near future? If you have a spouse, would I be independently financially independent if you retire? So there's just so many questions that you really need to ask yourself in terms of succession. But the key thing that I want you to take note is that in a family business, you need to appoint a family member that is going to take over. If you feel it's your child, you have to make sure that you have a caretaker if the child is still young when you retire or when you die, or you appoint a professional manager if there's no family manager, a family person that wants to take over. But I just want to make sure that all the people who are supposed to be successors are well trained, they understand all the key aspects of the business. Usually when I give you an assignment, I give you and I say, take a business from your neighbor or within your family, identify the key positions and say how you are going to make sure that people are properly trained for those key positions. By key positions, I'm referring to those positions. If they are not there, the business would not operate properly. So that's the reason why I say succession is very important. But now you have a key thing called the advisory board. These are the people who actually sit down and strategically plan what needs to happen about the business, because the environment keeps on changing. So you need to come up with new ways of doing things and new ways of solving conflicts and new ways of making decisions. And these are the people who are supposed to sit there and make sure that they have a proper charter or they have a proper policy on how you address issues. So the advisory board is important in that way. You also have another organized structure called family council. The role of family council is to ensure actually that they oversee family specific matters, such as what is the family's philosophy, how we embark on succession, how do we employ people, and how do we get involved in the business as family people, and how eventually we, respond to the external environment. So All these people are very important for the family business to succeed. It's not supposed to be entirely dependent on the founder or the few people who are within the business. I think that's the reason why in the township you'll find that a lot of businesses actually die or close down once the main person has passed on. I like the idea of having a family creed. A family creed would be like your mission statement or something that you subscribe to as a family, something that you are proud of, something that you share. You want to make sure that the family has got some kind of a constitution that guides the behavior of the family, even if it changes as time goes on, because things change. But this particular family creed would be followed by everyone. So basically, that's about it. Family business. I would really appreciate for you to go through the whole chapter and look at aspects like talent management. How do you manage the talent within the family as well? Because that is also important. So that would be the end of the summary of this chapter.